Energy Secretary Chris Wright says the United States will stop Iran from acquiring nuclear weapons one way or another. The ominous warning comes a day after U.S. and Iranian officials held indirect talks in Geneva about Tehran's nuclear program. Vice President J.D. Vance says the administration is seeking a diplomatic solution, but warned all options are on the table.
You know, in some ways it went well. They agreed to meet afterwards. But in other ways, it was very clear that the president has set some red lines that the Iranians are not yet willing to actually acknowledge and work through. So we're going to keep on working it.
All right, for more on this, we are joined by our friend, CBS News military contributor, Lieutenant General H.R. McMaster. He's also a former national security advisor from the first Trump administration. General, it's always good to see you.
Hey, Vlad and Chanel, great to be with you guys.
Good morning.
So these talks, as you know, come up as the United States is building up their presence in the region with the second aircraft carrier on the way and Iran holding naval drills. And we ask this from time to time. What are the potential? I mean, are we on a? I don't want to say that we're on a collision course for military action, but we have seen military action from this president in recent months. So could we see something like that in the weeks and months ahead?
I guess what are the red flags,
yeah.
right?
Right. Well, Vlad and Chanel, I think the chances of a sustained, air and strike campaign against Iran are very high. I would put over 80%. And the reason why I think that is because of the intransigence of the Iranian regime, who has been, permanently hostile to the United States for the last 47 years. So the context is really that 47-year-long proxy war against, the great Satan, the United States, Israel, and their Arab neighbors, the ideology, of the regime, and what you hear the supreme leader saying yesterday in his speech. So you have these shop windows of the regime, of the negotiators, Arachi, and then the statements of the so-called moderate president who approved the mass murder of 30,000 Iranians over a 48-hour period just a month ago. And so, you have this intransigence and them saying, hey, we still want to enrich uranium. We still want to maintain our missile programs. They're not putting on the table the support for the terrorist and proxy forces, that were activated against Israel when they lit the ring of fire around Israel on October 7th, 2023. These harassing kind of exercises of the RGC, so that they can't help themselves because of the nature of the regime. And so I think President Trump, having said to the Iranian people, hey, I'll support you, I think ultimately will make not only good on that, but probably conduct strikes against, the missile programs. Maybe that RGC Navy goes away, Vlad and Chanel, because this is a regime that I think is, kind of in its death throes. You've got the supreme leader who's, 87 years old. They have mass murdered their own people. They're coming up on the 40 days of mourning. They're already trying to suppress the mourning. I mean, these are people who killed people's sons and daughters. And then when the parents went to claim the bodies, they made them pay for the bullets. They made them sign false statements that they have been working for the Basij, or, the repressive arm of the regime. So, I mean, these are heartless people, and they've run out of runway in terms of the Iranian people are sick of it. Now, the sad part is, these authoritarian regimes only have to be stronger than any organized opposition. And this is why I think President Trump is going to decide to try to weaken the regime further, to go after the repressive arms of the regime, but those other capabilities that could be used to respond to a U.S. campaign against those repressive arms.
Before we leave you, I just want to also ask about Israel and how you see it factor into this.
Yeah, well, it's a big factor. So as I mentioned, October 7th, we have to remember, that ring of fire that was lit around Israel. I mean, it would have been, if you adjust per capita, the number of people murdered and those captured and tortured and raped and it would have been the equivalent of over 30,000 Americans adjusted for population. So this was really, I think, in the eyes of Iran, the opening stage in an effort to destroy Israel and kill all the Jews. And when people hear that, think, really? Yeah, really? That's what they say they're going to do. And that's what they built up around Israel, not only with Hamas in Gaza, but also in the West Bank, and especially with Hezbollah. And so what Israel did effectively after that failure of not being able to see that October 7th attack coming is that they rolled back Iran's proxy forces. And then Iran made a big mistake, another big mistake of attacking Israel directly. So that led ultimately that 12-day campaign during which Israel took out a lot of their missile capabilities, their nuclear capabilities, killed 24 generals in the Islamic Republic, the Islamic Revolutionary Guards Corps, and then the U.S. came in and went after those deep buried sites. They also destroyed their air defense. So there's a window of vulnerability here as Iran is racing to rebuild their missile capabilities, to reconstitute maybe a little bit their nuclear program, to strike some of these capabilities again.
All right, General H.R. McMaster, we'll have to leave it there for now. Thank you so much.
Hey, great to be with you.